And speaking of which, yeah, I seen everybody else wanting to talk about it. I'm like, do I really want to talk about it?
No.
No, I don't. But if I'm going to do a basketball podcast, I have
Uh-huh.
to be willing to talk about things that I don't want to talk about.
Exactly.
I have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Oh, I'm comfortable talking about it.
Of course, you are. You anytime you can go at one or both of them, you take the opportunity with no problem.
Yeah.
But yes, Stephen A. Smith versus LeBron James beat the beef heard around the sports world.
Lord have mercy.
That has not stopped, by the way.
The Nick, the man is in a good lord. He's actually in a regular season, and he is choosing to beef with a media member. Go
So we all know how this started. This is
take your shots first, man. Gosh.
actually you're gonna be taking your shots first because
Oh Lord.
I'm finna set it up first. So we all know how this started. LeBron did what he did to get Bronny on the Lakers. Okay, well, it is what it is. But during this journey, which people have been failing to say, some have said it, some have been willing to overlook it. He said some things that you just shouldn't say. I don't care if that's your son or not.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna leave like that. Then the whole exchange during the third quarter of their game, like I forgot who that was against. Was it
The
against
Knicks. It's the Knicks.
against the Knicks? Which they haven't had to come back and win that game. I imagine if they had lost that game, what would have happened? What would have been the actual storyline of that game?
Hmm.
But since they won, all is good. So that's how this started. Now, Stephen A comes on. He says, "Hey, that was a father talking to me, not the player." Was sounded like okay.
Sorry.
I have an idea what I was dealing with. A father being a father, you can't knock him for that.
You land. I'm sorry. Go
And, you know the whole thing with him and Rich Jefferson did that Stephen A came back firing. He was upset and all this other stuff. And then LeBron James decided, hey, I'm gonna go on Pat McAfee Show.
Look at
How
this.
in the hell did this come about? First of all,
Look at this. Oh, Rich Paul was on the show. I forgot how
I
long ago.
I, I heard Rich Paul was on the show, but in Rich
I,
Paul,
I,
you know,
I, I forgot how long ago, but he was on the show.
I think it was the week before. So
Yeah, and basically that visit made inroads.
here's
Probably
my
from the
thing though.
probably
How does
probably,
it start? Because
probably
Rich Paul been on there multiple times. This ain't the first time he. This ain't the first
no,
time he was on Pat McAfee Show.
I'm thinking probably from the standpoint of probably when they wrapped. Rich probably said, "Yeah, Braun gonna be in town because because the Pat McAfee show is based in Indianapolis. Yeah, Braun gonna be in town probably in about a couple weeks. Um, I could probably arrange something, and that's probably what happened.
So LeBron shows up last Tuesday on the Pat McAfee Show. Decided to take jabs to death about everybody, and I do mean everybody,
Yeah,
including Brian Windhorst, by the way,
ain't that something?
including Brian Windhorst, by the way. Take jabs at everybody. Said some things. I know some things that he said didn't flow with Cole Johnson. Like, let me think. Oh yeah, Giannis Antetokounmpo can score 250 points in a game in the '70s.
What powder is you snorting? Them nostrils are big enough that you are doing lines, son.
Yeah, LeBron did some things, and then Stephen A. responded to his words the very next day on First Take. It was LeBron was the interview was Tuesday, but it aired Wednesday, so it was Thursday when Stephen A. responded.
Right.
So those of you who were talking on why he ain't do it with Shannon Sharp don't show up on First Take on Thursdays.
No,
By
it's
the way.
normally Mondays and Tuesdays, I think.
So guess what? If it would have happened on a Friday, then yeah, you would have had Shannon Sharp able to respond. But Shannon Sharp don't show up on First Take outside of Monday and Tuesday.
Hmm.
Can we get our facts straight, please, people? The only time he does show up is probably on a Friday when they're out to probably go what national championship game,
Yeah, like if they're on
HBCUs.
location, yeah, if they're on location, or yeah, if they're near us. Because I think Shannon is based in L.A., right?
Yeah, but he showed up to the Ace when they're doing the HBCU tour.
Yeah,
Sam is
yeah,
there.
yeah. When they're on location like that, he'll show up.
National championship game for the football season. They
Hmm.
were there. But on a regular Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're not seeing Shannon Sharp.
No. Mm.
Shannon Sharp is content with his Monday and Tuesdays.
Well, smart man. If he's getting the cheddar, and all he needs is 2 days a week. All
And then
right.
Shannon Sharp spoke on his show, and he wished that these two actually stopped, mainly Stephen A. Smith. And by the way, with him saying that, that's not him defending LeBron James. If you know anything about Shannon Sharp is not really about confrontation.
Right. Yeah, he's Rodney King. He's basically being Rodney King. Can't y'all just get along? No, not in this case.
And by the way, Pat McAfee said the same thing too. I don't know if people caught that.
Can't we all just get along? No, not in this case.
Not only he responded on first day, he went on his podcast and continuing to respond to the point where he said if anything else would have happened, he would have swung on him. By the way, those of you who want to cut stuff, make sure you cut the right part because you just cut the part that he said would have swung on. He also said after he said that he would have got his butt kicked too.
Yeah, it's a 57-year-old swinging on an athlete. Of course, he's gonna get his butt whooped. So
But
would you, playmaker? So would I. I mean, sorry.
my thing is, people cut that part out, and just cut the part when he said he would have swung on him. Like he
Well,
also
of
said
course.
he
Well, of
also said
course.
he would get his behind kicked right after that.
Well, of course, because you got niggers that want to make it funny, and then they cut the video clips of when old Stephen A was training. I think he had a messed up wing.
He tore both rotator cuffs when he was training for Boston. That is the video LeBron James decided to
Yeah,
post on his social media like
yeah.
a
I was
troll.
about to say, yeah. You got niggers that want to just that do these things, and the niggers are following the lead of they can and do bull crap like that.
So now, before I show you my last slide, because the last slide is not neither LeBron James or Stephen A. Smith, somebody else. I'm gonna say that for later. But now I'm giving the floor to Mr. Warren Cole Johnson.
Okay. Sports fan, you got to do better. I'm going to say straight up. Sports fan, you got to do better. Basketball fan, you got to do better. You want to know why I say that LeBron James needs to retire now? It's not that Father Time is getting on him. Father Time will get on him because Father Time is undefeated. It may not get him at 40. It may get him at 41. It may get him at 49. I don't care when it gets him, it's going to get him because it gets all of us. But it's not him. There's a reason why he needs to retire. It's you all. You all need to have this man retire because he is on the tip of your tongue. I swear, as God as my witness, I really do believe, and I poke fun at this from time to time. And both Playmaker and I have a colleague who he basically co-opted what I started called the Brown Sexual Confessions, and he runs you all down ragged. And I poke fun at it, but it's gotten to the point where I'm getting tired of it. LeBron needs to retire because you all need to talk about something else. I mean, we could talk about I don't know, Luka Doncic actually blending in with the Lakers. We could talk about, I don't know, Josh Giddey hitting a hitting a three in front of LeBron James's face with the Bulls down two with no time remaining from half court, and it's nothing but net. We could talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder having over 60 wins in the season, and this team is the median age even 26 on that squad. I mean, this is a young team, and they're just running roughshod over the West and most of the NBA. We could talk about the Cavs, who they've been running roughshod over the East for most of this time, but they found themselves in a little bit of rough water in the last part of March, and now they have slid a little bit further down to the mean, where the Celtics have a slim chance of possibly overtaking them for the number one seed in the East. We could talk about how in the West, 2 to 5 or 2 to 6 is only separated by about 4 games. But no, you don't want to talk about any of that. You clowns want to talk about, well, Jordan. He just ain't like LeBron. I mean, LeBron, he has 22 years and he looks better at 40 than Jordan does at 40. I don't give a crap. Jordan ain't no GOAT because he didn't last this long. Jordan ain't no GOAT because he didn't do dynasties. He didn't beat dynasties. LeBron beat a dynasty back in 2016. That's 9 years ago. It's as if you all are just transfixed on talking about LeBron. You all talk about LeBron more than you do your girlfriends, your wives, or any important woman in your life. It makes me think that you pass numbers to him and that you want him to basically sex you down in your bedroom. And I'm not talking about the women either. It has gotten ridiculous. And I've had my last fill of it with this Stephen A. Smith, LeBron James kerfluffle. And you all acting as if you all are like, you could bench press 400 pounds. You
Did
talking
you say kerfluffle?
kerfluffle. I mean, uh, pick the name: disaster, fiasco, um, a cat fight. I don't care what you choose as a word, but basically that's what this is. It's just to the point where you all say it with your chest like you're Mike Tyson. Stephen Smith's out of pocket. No, Stephen Smith is not out of pocket because the crux of the matter is this man was commenting on what LeBron James did back in the summer. Let's refresh your memory, you dummies. Not the ones who are educated that watch Shooting Lights Out. No, I'm talking about the sports fan themselves and basketball fan in particular, especially bronzexuals. You remember before the Lakers drafted Bronny James 55th in last year's NBA draft in June, LeBron James was basically holding the Lakers hostage. And they were saying he didn't say it out in public, but he said it to the brass. I ain't signing on the dotted line unless you draft my son. It emanated from that. And here we are 9 months later, and 1 month into this kerfluffle, this debate, there when Stephen A. Smith actually said it way back in October, which I found it to be true. It's like you got this guy, you have this 19-year-old who barely saw time on the floor the year before because of the fact that he did not have the skills to pay the bills, literally and figuratively. And he was coming off of heart issues because the summer before that, he had a cardiac arrest and fell out when he was practicing. It, this man who wanted to make history because, well, that's what LeBron wants to do. He wants to make history with every single thing he does because he wants to do things that no one else has done. Congratulations. You already have done it by scoring more points than anybody in the league in the history of the game. And the game has been NBA has been 78 years in existence. So congratulations for that. Congratulations on scoring more than 40,000 points in its regular season and 50,000 points combined regular season and playoffs. Congratulations on scoring 30 points in a game, 30 points in a career. Congratulations on being the youngest to get to all of them totals. And also congratulations on you being the most turnover prolific player in NBA history too. Celebrate that, bronze sections, because he has over 5,000 of them. But I digress. You all, uh, you all pull out your tampons out your behinds to actually have this need to say, well, my man's getting attacked. Shut up. LeBron James did something that was, how can I say this? Um, um, Puppet master ish. I mean, he got a chance to make history by pulling his son on the court, and the boy wasn't ready. And now, 6 months later, the boy is still not ready. Bronsexuals, don't get me started on that crap when he had a 17-point game against the Bucks, and then the very next game he scores two. And I had one of you dumb bronsexuals chop me down. I said, I said, you can give me, you can miss me with that 17-point game crap. Is all you talking outside your mouth. Bronny can play. I said the very next game he scored two.
Well, and the crazy thing is, when LeBron finally pulled it off, Stephen A. defended it.
Yeah,
Because he says nepotism happened all over
it does.
America.
It does. So why are we surprised it's happening in the NBA? I agree with him on that.
And
I
you know
agree
how
with him.
Stephen A. is? It's LeBron James.
Yeah, he's fair
He's
minded.
not. He's not one of them.
Right.
So it looks bad that he pulled it off.
It looks bad because it is bad. It's bad from the standpoint of this man, and I'm saying this with Bronny. This man wasn't ready. He did not earn it.
And here's the thing. Now I'm gonna come in here because
But before you come in, he did not earn it. Here's my bow on the Sunday here. And and before I cede the floor to the main host of Shooting Lights Out, sports fan and basketball fan in particular, there's one that has gotten, I would say he's gotten on my nerves, but no, he's gotten inside my anus.
not inside. Good grief.
because because this dummy wants to put forth stuff to debunk anything Michael Jordan, because he wants to pick a fight. And then when someone comes like me, comes with something of fact to challenge what he's doing, then he calls me, oh, you talk out the side of your mouth, you're a BSer. And I'm like, look, you old foggy fool. You have the nerve and the audacity to want to put something up, and then you want to, instead of have a debate on the topic, you want to debate me. You want to chop me down. You want to assassinate my character. And the reason why I'm blending this idiot, who by the way is probably as old as, no, he's probably as old as my mother, who's 74. The reason why I'm blending this idiot with bronsexuals is because this is how you both argue. You argue the point that if we have the nerve to say something that is antithetical to what you believe, then I am at fault because the human being is faulty. Well, this is why I am sick of LeBron James being talked about, and I'm getting really sick of LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith being talked about. It's because you all want to attack people, but
They've
you
been
don't
doing
want
that
to
for years.
attack the subject matter. And the subject matter is, you got two men who basically, I'll put it this way: you got two men who love the spotlight, who may not like each other, but who are sneak dissing one another like it's Kendrick Lamar and Drake for 10 years in the rap battle.
I mean, this is how this is. Let
Oh,
me
and
to be
before that,
one to
and
bring some clarity to this because somebody tried to attack me and I said what I said. I said both of them wrong.
well, of course they are. Because guess what?
I'm not picking no side. They both wrong.
Because guess where that conversation should have happened? Not on the court. It should have happened in private. And that's when it should have happened. But because Mr. LeBron James is wise and media savvy, he saw there was a camera, he bucked up. And of course, he stands 6 inches above Stephen A. Smith. It looked as though he chewed Stephen A. Smith a new one. And then that's where LeBron's wrong. Where Stephen A. Smith's wrong, he decided to go on a press tour. And fine,
Taylor
what you
Taylor
do
Sw-
is
Taylor Swift toy, as LeBron put it.
yeah. So fine, you do the tour. That's cool. I wouldn't have done that, but you decided to do it. The problem that I have with it is when you dummies that decide to run with it, and then when like like Playmaker correctly said, both men in the wrong, then you say stupid stuff like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know basketball. You suck. You don't have a brain." You say stupid crap like that, and then it makes me want to say, you know what? You could take the comments, you could take your comments, you could take your girlfriend, you take your mama, and you can shove them all up your behind. Because why? You all suck when it comes to critical thinking. And it pulls down the IQ of the sports fan. So before I do hand this over to Playmaker, I'm gonna direct this to that crotchety old 74-year-old and the LeBron sexual all at the same time. You want to chop down Michael Jordan? Fine, be my guest. Brown says you want to chop down Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Kevin Durant and Hakeem Olajuwon and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Will Chamberlain and Dr. J and Stephen A. Smith and Brian Windhurst and Horst and every other person that probably does not think along the same lines as you when it comes to LeBron James. Be my guest. But you know what you all are? You all are mental midgets.
You know why?
5-year-olds have more brain matter than you all do combined. No, one 5-year-old has more brain matter than all of you combined.
Y'all do notice when I does this show, y'all have really heard me have the Michael Jordan LeBron debate on the show. You know why that is? Because it's pretty much Republican versus Democrat. That's the type of debate that has been. And I don't do politics. You ask this man right here, the morning shift Code Johnson, who
Oh,
does politics.
I'll do politics, and I'll be the first to say, just like I say, Republicans and Democrats, Brownsexuals, Jordanaires, and whomever, you all are stupid.
Because
Logic,
all you
logic
want,
flies out the window.
because all you do is
It's about
attack the
heart,
other side. That's it.
right?
Straight attack the other side to bring them down, which is stupid. That's why you don't hear me talk about the LeBron and Jordan debate on the show. Now, LeBron James was wrong. And pretty much, I was only point to one thing what LeBron did before he did all the other stuff. The simple fact that you sat here and you told you put this out there for the world to hear you when you said Bronny is better than some of the NBA players.
I wanted to leave you to say that because that pissed me off.
Like LeBron, we know how great you are, but that was not something that you usually do. For you to do that, you should have known what was going to happen,
Well, no,
which I'm pretty sure you did.
no. LeBron lies. You shouldn't lie to that big degree. Come on, man. Bronny James, even now, is not better than half of the NBA. You know better than that. Because I guarantee you, if Bronny James had another name, you know what you would have done with that talent? You would have walked up to the brass and you say, "Get rid of him. Get some talent in place of him now." But because he has your last name,
My problem with LeBron is you're the reason why Bronny's going through this.
one,
You're the main reason, not the entire reason, but you're the main reason why he's going through this.
you
Because
being
you
kind.
put him in the spotlight.
You being kind. He is the entire reason Bronny's going through this.
No, because I trust me, I'll explain to you. But you're the reason why Bronny's going through this. You're the reason why. There's things that you say, I'm like, Bron, why is you saying all this? Let the man just play. Just let him play. That's it. You accomplish your goal. You play in the same game with your son. You accomplished the goal. Now let him go off, do his thing without the media worrying about him. But no, you keep speaking and the media keeps going to him. Like, stop. Please stop.
That's why I say it's all him right there. Right there.
Now, full disclosure, I'm not a father. But listen to some fathers. Now I understand why Stephen A was wrong. because you do not go on national television and say as a father for him
Oh
to
no,
stop
no,
doing stuff.
no! Never challenge a father. Never challenge a father. Never.
That's what Stephen A. was wrong at to begin.
Yeah, never challenge a father. Public or private, never challenge a father. Never. Now you can pull him. Now Stephen A. could have pulled him aside and say, "Dude, what the heck are you doing?" Now he could have done that, but to basically say, "No, I challenge you as a father. Why would you, as a father, do that?" Yeah, that's going out of bounds.
I'm pleading with you as a father to stop. You should never say that. Ever. I don't care what type of relationship y'all had before then, but you should never said that. That's where to begin for Stephen A. Smith. Now, Stephen A. Smith has been made to look like a hypocrite, the word that you use for the NCAA. Because, Cole, who's one of the biggest followers of Stephen A. Smith?
The person that's talking, well, not me, but the person that is talking right now.
I have heard Stephen A. say, and like other people say many times, pull up whenever. I'm not hard to find. Well, you pulled up to the Lakers Knicks game, and LeBron said, "All right, I'm pulling up."
And there's a camera. Oh, I'm definitely gonna pull up. I'm gonna use a 20.
Camera there or not?
I'm gonna use
Well,
a 20. I'm gonna use a 20 in the third. I'm gonna use a 20 in the third period, third quarter.
Whether it was camera there or not, Stephen A. You heard Stephen A. say this a whole bunch of times.
Oh yeah. I'm not hard to find and all that type of junk. Yeah.
You have a problem, pull up.
And I
LeBron
and I've
pulled up.
and I've said this often when he said that. I'm like, all right, bro. You say that you ain't hard to find, but you pop off wrong. One of them athletes is gonna say, "Oh, you ain't hard to find, Stephen A." All right, well, I have an issue with you, and if you say the wrong thing, that issue is gonna end up with the fist in your throat. Now, I'm not saying that's what I want him to have happen,
He didn't end
but
up with the fist in
but
the
with the
throat, but LeBron pulled up on him and he didn't
but
expect it.
but the bravado that he but the bravado in
Bravado.
which yeah but the bravado in which Stephen A. Smith says that phrase, one of those alphas is going to take him up on that offer.
And LeBron took him up on that offer.
Mhm.
He took him up on that offer. Then you go on first thing and said that was a father speaking to you, but you go on Gil's Arenas and you said it was weak.
That's the second biggest issue I have with Stephen A. Smith in this. It's
I
like,
love
okay,
Stephen A. Smith. But
I
you
just
said plenty of time, I'm not hard to find, pull up whenever. LeBron pulled up on you about his son, allegedly.
yeah, allegedly.
But he pulled up on you and then you call it weak. You can't have it both ways, Stephen A. You can't say pull up on me and then somebody pull up on you and you have a problem with it.
And then when you wanted to respond to that Pat McAfee interview spot, you want to throw things that really has nothing to do with
I
the
ain't get there
sport.
yet. I ain't get there yet. I'm getting there.
Okay, all right.
I'm
Well,
gonna
I'm
get
sorry.
there.
I'm sorry, my man. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then LeBron does his Pat McAfee interview. And LeBron think he's slick.
Negro, ain't no person gonna be scoring 250 points in the 70s.
First of all, no disrespect. You need this how he set it up. You need to respect that era for what it was, and then you go right behind it and say Giannis would have scored 250 points in the 70s. Ain't you just doing what you said you didn't want people to do in the same sentence?
What was that word earlier, sir? Hypocrite. You can label LeBron James with that too.
And then you want to make fun of Stephen A. Smith because you brought his name on the Pat McAfee show, and he's going to get his ice cream and all this stuff. Like, really, LeBron? This is what you're gonna do in your 22nd season in the NBA, where your team is fighting for a top 2 spot in the Western Conference.
Well, you're dealing with a 40-year-old. He has nothing better to do than to pick a fight with a media member.
Acting like a high school kid.
Exactly.
You
Turning
said
back the
you
clock in
said what you
19
said, and then Stephen A. responded. And then Stephen A., you look terrible.
So
why did you bring up the memorial of Kobe Bryant?
One, why did you bring it up? And then two,
You had to
why
correct
were
yourself in the
you
second hour.
faulty in doing so? Right.
Then you had to correct yourself in the second hour first take. Why? Secondly, and
Oh,
I knew this for a fact because I knew when it happened. You brought up him not showing up to Dwayne Wade's Hall of Fame ceremony, which like the week before, that's when Bronny had the heart issue.
yeah, that was below the belt. That was below the belt.
Everybody knew why LeBron wasn't there.
And I
It
probably
didn't even have to be told.
and I'm sure Dwayne more than anybody probably knew. And probably said, "Dude, I understand. If it was if I was my child and you had a ceremony, look, child over this. I already know you cool. We good. I'm sure LeBron had that conversation with Dwayne, and I'm sure Dwayne basically said, man, do you, bro? That's your son in the hospital. Nothing is bigger than that, and nothing in the world is bigger than that, including a best friends Hall of Fame ceremony.
I don't care that Dwayne Wade and the Heat organization helped LeBron become a champion. That man's son almost died.
And that's why I say all of that is on LeBron, because here's where I will sort of say, as a father, would I do this? No. 2 summers ago, your son was fighting for his life. And you decided to want to make history with him by forcing his way the following summer to be on your team. I still am not good with that. I'm not good with that from this young man was fighting for his life standpoint. And I will never be good with that.
You probably won't, but Bronny said he wanted to continue to play basketball. What you wanted to do?
Now, Bronny, cool, but in my humble opinion, Bronny should still either be with USC or somewhere in college.
I agree with you, but even before that, LeBron Ben said he wanted to play with his son.
No, that's
So
fine, and he could have done that, but he could have arranged it to where because LeBron is not looking like he's going to retire anytime soon. He could have arranged it to where this could have happened 2 or 3 years down the line. But it could have been done to where it's like, yeah, Bronny does have a little game. He picked up something in college. He actually looks pretty good. Instead of it looking like charity.
but we sit here and we have to deal with this. This is what is spreading across America. This beef between these two.
And that's all sports fans are talking about. That's what makes it sickening.
I don't want to talk about it, but since I'm doing the basketball show, I don't got no choice. Because I got the guy who covers basketball and covered it for almost 3 decades, and the face of the NBA in LeBron James.
Yeah. And probably the two biggest media personalities, at least on the basketball side of things, are butting heads. And everybody has to talk about it, which sucks.
And here's my problem with LeBron James. Now, if he would have said protect my damn house so and left that, no problem. He said protect the players. When did you ever protect the players, sir?
Well, remember that 250-point comment that Giannis could score on a team 50 years ago. That to him is like protecting the players.
What are you protecting players from? Because here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing for me. While he was on the Pat McAfee show, why he ain't take no shot at Skip Bayless while he was at it?
I find that hilarious too, because
now I ain't talking about you run up on Skip Bayless, but you was on Pat McAfee. You could have took a shot at Skip Bayless.
I find it hilarious with that because Skip has said things to me. Even though this one aspect of Stephen A. Smith was a little bit on the side with LeBron, Skip has said a lot of things about LeBron the past 2 decades. Not one comment. Not one. Oh, I see Skip and I see Skip on front row. Let me actually step up and pull up on him.
No, I ain't talking about him pulling up on like he did. I'm talking about when he was on the Pat McAfee show when he
No,
doing
no,
stuff.
no.
Everybody he talked about pretty much worked at ESPN
No. I get that.
on an ESPN show.
I know. I get that. I'm saying. I'm saying. What's that? What's that phrase? Keep that same energy. If that's the energy you're going to keep with Stephen A, you should keep that same energy with Skip Bayless, whether he works at Fox Sports One or nowhere, because he's been clapping on you the last 2 decades.
And you know the funny thing is, when you put up on Stephen A. Smith, that's what got Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless to do a show together. I'm like, this would happen right after this man had a conversation with LeBron James. And LeBron James, you ain't fooling me. You can, so everybody can say, well, that was the moment in time for him to do it. That man knew that Stephen A. Smith had just signed a new contract. That was not breaking news to anybody. The same day.
Let's not break news again. The most media savvy athlete in the history of sports. I don't care if it's basketball, boxing, football, hockey, baseball, equestrian, swimming, softball, gymnastics. I don't care what sport it is. The most media savvy athlete in the history of the industry is LeBron James. You know that dude saw, SAS, he inked a 5-year, $20 million, $100 million extension. Oh, I got to go in on this nigga. Jeez.
There's blame going around in on all both parties. And I'm not picking a side. They both are wrong. And that's how I feel about it. If you don't like it, I don't give a damn. Because they both are wrong.
Well, you are picking a side. You're picking the right side. Both men acted like they 16. And what makes it even worse,
and Stephen A., you didn't have to sit here and remind people what LeBron James said about Brian Windhorst over and over again.
But since he dislikes LeBron, of course he has to. That's why I say he's also acting like he's 16. It's like, oh, he has this nerve to say this about me. Well, I'm going to say this about him. Oh, he has the nerve to say this about me. I'm going to say this about him. Stop acting like you're high school. Stop acting sophomoric.
And the one guy that both of y'all respected, this man right here.
Yeah, the literal adult in the room.
This man wants no part of this.
The literal adult in the room, Michael Wilbon. Yes.
That man said, I don't know why LeBron's doing this all of a sudden. It is beneath him and is annoying to me.
100, Mike. 100.
He also went at ESPN. Because when in God's name has ESPN or any NBA outlet cover a 55th pick the way that they've been covering Bronny James?
Never.
You know what he said? They're doing it for clicks.
Of course they are. And unfortunately, this is why I say this is on LeBron too, because Bronny's getting them clicks because he's LeBron's son. Not because he's a good player, not because of his own merit. It's because he belongs to LeBron James, and anything LeBron James sports fan will gobble up, including his very own oldest seed.
Here's the thing. I would love to hear from Bronny James. I would love to hear from Bronny James about this whole situation. I would love for Bronny James to come out. He can even say, look, I didn't ask for all this. I just want to play and learn. That's it.
Actually, I'm glad we're not. Because I'll put it like this. My father's still alive. I love him. He's an awesome human being. He's the greatest man I've ever known. He's one of the greatest human beings I've ever met, ever had a time to spend any time with. And if I were to say one bad thing about my father, he would be a lie and a half. If he were to pull the same crap LeBron did to Bronny, I would actually go to my father and say, why are you being such an embarrassing prick, Dad? I don't want this. And I would say it to him that way.
Ryan Clark said on the paper, he said he talked to his son Jordan. He said, "Pop, I don't need you to ever do that."
Right. Oh, thank you for that. So for you dummies who'd say, "Well, see, LeBron, he's supporting his son. He's defending his son." Um, there was a time, and I think this was in 2008. I think it was 2008. When LeBron was a member of the Cavs, and let me see if I can remember the age that he was
Oh, I know
then.
exactly what you're talking about. That was his
He was
rookie. It was
20.
his rookie year.
Oh, it was. Oh. Let
It was
me
his
go back
rookie
further.
year,
Let me go back
and
further.
it was against. Was it against the Celtics?
It was against the Celtics.
It was
Well, I
against the
thought it,
Celtics,
but I thought it was a playoff game, and I thought it.
and
No, it
it was
was.
his.
It was.
It was
It
a
was.
playoff, but it was his rookie year though. Remember, he got them to the playoffs. Right? He was
No,
LeBron
not the
James.
rookie year. No, not the rookie year. He didn't go in. LeBron didn't go to playoffs the first 2 years. So the first time he would have been in the playoffs would be 2006. So yeah, this was 2008. So LeBron's age would have been then 24.
I know. Is every time he talking about he told his mom. We told his mom to sit her ass down.
23. He would have been 23. Yes. And so, yeah, and this wasn't the playoffs. This, I think it was game 3, actually, of 2008 East Cup semifinals. Paul Pierce drags him into the stands, and then his mama gets buck because his mom was sitting courtside around that time, around the under the goal. And then, yeah, you see LeBron actually look at his mama Gloria and say, "Sit your down." I mean, demonstratively say it to her. That's why I'm glad we're not hearing from Bronny, because Bronny has every right to actually say, "Look, Dad, sit your down and shut your up. I don't want to be a part of your circus. I want to build my own legacy." And if he were to come out and say that, I can already hear the spoiled brat stuff that would come from everybody, and he doesn't deserve that. Let that grown man do what he does and let him be. I don't have an issue with Bronny at all. I just believe he has been dragged. Although I do believe he does want to be an NBA player. I just think he's been dragged by his father to be a puppet for him. And that is what I find angering.
So, you two juggernauts need to stop it. This is stupid.
Or you can keep going, and we can actually see how stupid and how immature and how sophomoric you all are. Because you know what you're doing? You're reflecting how many of the sports fans are. Because they too act like sophomoric jerks, just like the two of you been the last month.
Now, this has took up a good hour of my show. I do not want to talk about this ever again.
I'll say this: Yo Kang needs to retire now. Go.
We're gonna take
I
a
don't
break.
want. I don't want to. I don't want to hear anything about him anymore. I want the sports fan to actually evolve in their thinking, so they can
Oh,
talk about
matter of
something
fact,
else. And thank the Lord we are on this show. God,
there is one more thing, and this is on Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith, for you to sit here and say, when LeBron James retires, you will not talk about him ever again,
that's a lie.
you a liar. For you to call that man the second best player to ever play the game,
I actually think
how can
that's a
you
lie
not
too.
talk about him when he retires?
I actually think that's a lie too. So I think he's getting forced to say that.
He ain't put a number one.
No, I mean he's putting him as high as 2, because I think he I think he could put him lower than that, because he has more sort of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar than him.
Hey, everybody has their opinion, okay?